Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 7, and today we're taking a look at the 2017 Volvo XC90 R design. Now the XC90 has been around since 2002, and this is the second generation which started in 2014. Completely redesigned over the first generation, not just in terms of looks, but also in terms of what it's got going on underneath. And yeah, this is a car that is easily one of the best looking cars in terms of SUVs on this game, inside and out. It's also one of the more practical ones because you can have 7 seats, or you can have a really rather large boot. And yeah, in terms of actual innovation though, this is far away the best SUV out there, and that's purely down to what it's got going on underneath the hood. It's got a 2-litre inline-4 engine, which doesn't sound all that great, but it has a turbocharger, a supercharger, and it's also a hybrid with a 9.2 kilowatt an hour lithium ion battery powering the electric motor. So yeah, that's a hell of a lot of engineering going on there, and as a result it's got 400 horsepower and 472 pounds-feet of torque, which isn't all that much in comparison to other SUVs. There's certainly far more powerful ones out there, but for a car that has such a small engine in such a large car, that is a really rather respectable amount of horsepower there. And yeah, the hybrid system also has regenerative braking. Weirdly though, you can't actually charge it back up on the engine. It's only a plug-in hybrid, but you know, that doesn't mean at least that you aren't having that complicated system going on. And yeah, the electric system on its own is good for between 13 and 27 miles, so which is fairly respectable as well, considering it's a car that weighs 5,105 pounds. It's hardly a lightweight Prius, and yeah, it's really rather nice looking in here. As you can see, it's got the drive mode down there, your start and your stop engine, a weird little gearbox lever, but at least it's not trying to pretend to be a manual. And yeah, it looks really nice in here. You can tell this is something that isn't your typical American or German car, because it's just radically different to those kind of vehicles. Now this is hardly the most fastest SUV out there, but it's nonetheless an R-designed Volvo, which means it's the top of the line in terms of performance and handling. So yeah, we're going to take it out onto the track and see what it can do. So see you when we get there. So we're at Suzuka Full Circuit for one lap, so let's see what this really rather innovative SUV can do. The engine's got a nice little growl to it. It's not the best sounding engine in the world, but it's hardly the worst either, and the turbocharger doesn't exactly overwhelm the engine noise. And yeah, as you can see, it's hardly the slowest vehicle off the line, despite not having the most power for such a heavy vehicle. 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, 0 to 114.4 seconds, going on to a top speed of 170 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure that's a bit overstated in terms of what it can do in real life, but nonetheless that's fairly quick in terms of acceleration, especially for a car, like I said, that doesn't have a lot of power for such a heavy and large vehicle. And yeah, in terms of handling, it's capable, that's for sure. Yes, it rolls a little bit, and I'm pretty sure if you pushed it too hard it would understeer wildly, but if you play it sensibly and keep it smooth, it will handle perfectly well. And yeah, it's even somewhat slightly fun as well to drive such a large vehicle this quick, even without all that power. Now the idea behind this car, I think, from Volvo is about usable performance, because yeah, any car can have 500, 600, even 700 horsepower, but it's about how often you can actually use that power. And this car focuses on the 0 to 60 acceleration over anything else really, because 5 seconds is not too shabby, and pretty sure the mid-range clout when you were trying to overtake, for instance, is going to be pretty solid as well, because you've got every kind of drive system going for you. You've got the supercharger, which will help in terms of low revs. You've got turbocharger, which will help in terms of higher revs, and then you've got the electric system, which will help off the line and fill in the gaps between the supercharger and the turbocharger. So yeah, there's no real lag at all really, and the power is always there. You're really not going to be waiting for anything to spool up, for instance, or waiting for the engine to get to a certain rest before the power eventually kicks in. So yeah, really like what they've done with this car. I've always liked the XC90. I even like the first generation with a V8, which I wouldn't mind having in this game, but this is by far the better version. Not just in terms of looks and design, but in terms of what it's got going underneath. And yeah, you can certainly see what Volvo are going for in terms of what they're doing in terms of propulsion systems. They have announced that they want to phase out petrol and diesel engines eventually, so this is clearly moving towards that with such a small engine. So yeah, I can get fully behind this kind of vehicle. And yeah, well, hats off for Volvo for going for something completely different to any other vehicle out there, because it's not often that you get a twin charged engine, let alone one that also has a hybrid system coupled onto it. And yeah, the fact that it's also nice to drive and fairly quick as well is just a bonus, really. So yeah, I'm really pleased that this car's on the game. It's again shook up the variety on this game. Really don't see any problem with such a vehicle like this being on the game when it's far removed from any other kind of SUV that we've got going, and it's about time we had a Swedish SUV anyway. So yeah, thoroughly pleased with it, and yeah, it's easily one of my favourites from the car pack. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.